Hi everyone, this is Tracy from We Craft at Home, and in case you didn't realise, we are doing a Nativity Stable card. Now I have seen this on YouTube in a similar way, just not on canvas, so I thought I would do it on canvas so it's easier to cut out. So this is what we're doing. I'll move it out the way, and we're going to start off with a square, rectangle, whatever. We'll untick maintain aspect ratio, and we want the width to be 8 3/4 and the height to be 10. And that's what we're starting with. We're using the X and Y, so we're going to put it up on the grey line. The grey line is the 0 line, not the red one. Oh, look at that, I've placed that well, so 0 zeros. And what we need to do first is an inch line either side. So path tool, click, hold shift, drop straight down and double click, and path tool again, click, hold shift and double click. Now that we need at 775, so we need to go up a little bit. I'm using my arrow keys on the keyboard and I didn't check where this one was. That was silly, wasn't it? Let's go to layers. So that needs to come back a little bit. We're going to leave them like that for now. We have to muck around with them in a little while, but only a little bit. Now we need the path tool, because we need a score line across, and we need it at 325, but it'll be on the Y, not the X, because it's the line going down. So we know that it's about here. Again, hold straight across and double click. That's 331, so we take it up to 25. There we go. So now we know that's in the right place, so we will change that to a score line. Okay, now we have that, we can muck around with these. So what we have to do for each one is duplicate, and then we're going to come back on it. Sometimes these lines are so hard to get. We're going to come back on it, and we are just going to bring it up to the score line, but we're also going to make sure it goes over the first line. And then this one, we're going to put it in place where the other one was, and you can check by going to the X and making sure you're on 1 inch, and then you're going to bring this one down to the score line and change it to another score line. And then we're going to do the same on this. Okay, there we go. So that is the basic shape. And now what we've got to do, get the path tool, and we need to go 1 inch down from this line, and we're only going from the outside to the score line. And we need that on both sides. You have to click the path tool every time you need it. And then obviously check, and you want it at 425 on the Y. Now we'll check that one. 425. Change it to a score line. And then the last thing we need is 2 diagonal score lines. So path tool, and we're going from the bottom outside, hold the shift, there we go, and it finds its own space. And we're going to the top inside in that little square and change it to a score line. So path tool, bottom outside where the second score line is, and you'll go into the corner at the top. and that's another score line. So that is the basic shape that we want for our stable. I'm going to group it. I've clicked Control G, or you can do Layer Group. Okay, so the next thing we need is the doors. They're an odd shape because this square here is 6 3/4 squared. So I've done it so that when everything's folded, it will be like a 7 by 7. But it means that we've got to do 6, 7, 5 in half. So I'm going to get a rectangle. I'll do a square again. And we are also, we're not doing it from this line, we're doing it from this line. So I know that the height, again, make sure you've unticked maintain aspect ratio. I know that the height is 5 3/4 because we need to take an inch off for this. And then the width, I've worked out, it's probably best to do 3.37. And the reason I say that is because these panels here are what you're going to be sticking the doors onto, and in case you miss by a millimetre, they won't cross over. So we need 2 of them, so we just duplicate. So they should, in theory, meet in the middle. I know it doesn't look like that right now, but that's the idea. Now all we're going to do now are the layers. So this is going to be the roof, and what we need are the layers. So like here I've got 2 squares, so because I like to mat and layer, so I'm going to have a mat, and then on top of it I've got like a picture of hay. I know it looks a bit weird first, I've cut it down to size, but we're going to rough the edges up so that it's not as tidy, because it won't look right tidy. But I'm also going to put that on my files on the We Craft at Home Facebook group. So if anybody wants these, they will be available on there. I always work out my mats by going down in 3/4 inches. So I know that because we know that this is 6, 7, 5 across, we know that the first one, let's get a rectangle ready. I will actually use a rectangle this time. We know that the width would be 6 1/2 because that's 3/4 of an inch. That's, sorry, 1/4 of an inch down. And then this one will be 3 because we know down to this score line we put it at 3.25. So we know that that's 3 by 6 1/2 and it fits nicely. And then in there you just take it down by 1/4 of an inch. So if you layer, duplicate, or you can use the offset, whatever you prefer to do, and then just change it. So instead of 650 you want 25, and there it's got to be at 275 because we're going down by 1/4 inches. There we go, and that will be the hay size. So when you're cutting out, if you print it out, I've made it so that it's a little bit bigger. If you have a look, it's 6 1/2 by 3 1/2, so it's quite a lot bigger, just so that you've got plenty of room for mistakes. And then we'll rough it up a bit before we put it on. I just want to say, for the roof, you want the layers to be inside and out. I mean, it's up to you if you put the hay inside. I think it will look nice with the hay inside. So I will be doing layers inside and out. For the doors, we will duplicate again. And this time, we're coming down, so we want 5 1/2 because that's 5 3/4. So we change that to a 5. And this one, it's going to be a little bit less because I've just taken it down to 1/4. It's a little more narrower on the sides, but that will be fine. If you want to change it, that's up to you, but that's what I felt like would work. And then one more layer, duplicate, and this one obviously down 1/4, so that's 3 by 5 25. And that'll go there, and that'll be the size of the door, which I've put there. I've put hinges on already, and on these, if you want to cut the hinges out extra just to add on top and do it like that, that is up to you. Again, for this one I've got 4 layers because you want them inside and out of the main card. I'm using just 140 paper because I don't want them to be too thick. I think that's everything. So if you print them out, and then in case you don't know, if you scan them in and go on the scan and cut screen where it tells you what you can scan in, if you push the button to go right, then you can scan it straight into Canvas Workspace, and it means then the picture comes up and you can fit the square exactly where you've put the doors and squares on the paper. Okay, so I'll see you over at the craft table. Okay, so I'm over at the craft table, and this is the main piece cut. And what we need to do first of all is put that down and sharpen it. Then put the same one down and make sure that you measure it against there when you straighten it so that it's straight on the fold. And then underneath there we've got to go back like that before we go like that, okay? So it's the folds that are already there, and of course you need these folds as well. So it's going to be like that. And then the doors are going to each go on there, and I'm going to stick them on so that this is on the inside, and when we do the inside of the door we can cover it so there's no mess. Let's do, I don't normally use these, but they can come in handy. So the 2 doors are going each end. Line it up with the bottom and the side obviously, and then just make sure that it lines up all the way along the bottom so you know you've got it straight all the way along the bottom there. That's the important one because that's where it's got to open. There we go. So that's the main mechanism of the door, and then all we're going to do, if you put it down like this so that they're straight, then we can just you can tell I'm not good at these, can't you? So make sure this is straight along the actual crease of the roof. And then we can just shut the whole thing down like this. So then we know also it's in the right place. So it will look like that. You see? We've just stuck it onto the top of the roof, and it will fold like that and come down. So when it opens, it can rest on there, on the bit coming down, but it will open. and then it closed nicely like that. So now for all the layers. So on the outside I've done gold. I've actually used my creative sticky papers. They're the doors. So on each door we're going to have gold, and the top of the roof is also going to have gold. But then on top of that, there's the hay, and you can see where I've roughed it up just with a pair of scissors, just gone along and roughed the edges so that it looks more hay-like. And that will be on the top. And then the two sides, we've got doors, and I did cut out the hinges separately and add them on with some pads. And then when they're on firmly, I might add a bit of shine. I'm not sure yet if shiny will be too much, so I haven't decided that yet. So we're going to have a door on each one, like that, on the inside too. And then for my inside here, I've got another gold piece. I just chose gold. It's Christmas, we need a bit of gold. And I used the same wood paneling, but I lightened it a little bit, just as the backing. And then, like I said, this is the book that I've used. So it's Hunky Dory, A Child is Born. And they've got lots of different nativity style parts to it. So you could tell a story with the 3 wise men and all that kind of thing. And there's that one as well. But I decided to use the first one, which is actually what we know as the nativity scene. So I've used that one, and I only used 2 sheets, and all I've done is decoupaged it up so that the figures are decoupaged, and that will go in the middle there, and that's it. So I'm going to speed up now and put it all together. Okay, so there is the outline of the card. I have put all these papers on for you to use as well, so you can use them. So the idea is when it's standing up, that is resting like a roof. Now for the inside, like I said, I want to do this, and I'll be doing it on pads. But what I wanted to do, I had an extra bit left over, and I thought if I put it some underneath, I'm just going to test it first, and then I'm going to rip another little bit to put over the top. Just so it looks like there's hay in there as well, and just ripping it. I'm hoping it will work anyway. There, like that. I think will make a difference. So I'm going to do that first. That can go on flat. So that's the inside I've done. And there will be the outside. So obviously you want a sentiment on the front, and then you'll open the inside, and then you will put your insert on the back. I haven't done a sentiment yet because I'm looking for a particular one. I think Oh Holy Night on the top would look amazing. I don't think it needs anything here. People will just automatically open it and then they get that inside. So there we go. It's a fairly simple card. I think you could probably make a few. You don't have to put anything on pads so that it will go flat. Remember though, on the inside that the doors have to match the back like that. So yeah, so that the hinges are that side, like they'll be that side. I think that's everything. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. I will leave the link where I got the idea from. A lady called Iced Gems. She's amazing, actually. You should check her out. So I'll leave the link for that, and yeah, I'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.